Welcome to this episode of Chattin with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got former Outlaw member and former Hells Angel member, Bob and PeeWee.
Howdy, I'm Bob. I'm a retired member of the Outlaws in Canada, and I'm chatting with Staxx.
I'm PeeWee. I'm a former Hells Angel, and I'm chatting with Staxx.
What's going on, guys? How you doing?
Hey, good to meet you, PeeWee. I've seen you on a few other channels. You got your own channel too?
No, I don't, bro. Hey, I'll be honest with you. I wasn't going to do any more of these at all, you know?
Yeah.
Billy calls me up, and I just did 3 weeks ago. They flew me out to LA to do that shit that started by you guys over there, that Hells Angel Kingdom Come, when they started in Canada.
Oh, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, it's called Hells Angels Kingdom Come. It started off all about Canada. It tells everything about Canada. And then now they're moving into the United States, and it's Vice, VICE, Vice channel.
Yeah.
And they're probably prepping it right now, getting it ready. And when it comes out, should be pretty soon. But yeah, they flew me to LA for that.
I like Vice. They got good programs.
Yeah, they do, bro. And I told them that. I says, I watch your station, man. You guys got good programs on here, you know?
Yeah, they brought me out to New York, and I did an interview for Vice too. So maybe I'll be on the same episode as you, PeeWee.
Oh, great! All right.
They said I'm a motorcycle expert.
Oh, yeah. There you are.
I guess anybody could be an expert nowadays, huh?
Right.
They used to use Hollywood for that, you know, Insane Throttle.
Yeah.
Yeah, they used to use him for that.
Shout out to Insane Throttle. So
yeah, he's good people.
Today I want to talk about the relationship between the Outlaws in the US and in Canada in the past. You know, it's nothing present. We're not talking about any club business or anything like that. I want to talk about what was your relationship with people from Canada, PeeWee, and what was your relationship with people from the United States, Bob? We'll start with PeeWee.
Well, my relationship with the Hells Angels that were in Canada was great. I mean, I could never get into Canada, obviously, you know, and like I'm sure they had it the same way for Bob, where no outlaws could cross the border and go into Canada.
I had a window where I made it.
He did. He came to the US.
You should show me that window, Bob.
Yeah.
All the years I was in the club, I never ever got to go to Canada. I always wanted to. Now, the guy said they could sneak me in, but being my size, somebody would have saw me, I would have got arrested. Because one guy did from Massachusetts, and they held him for 3 months in a jail in Canada before they released him. And I mean, I just couldn't do shit like that. So I thought, I was doing enough jail time here and there. I wasn't about to go to Canada to see what that was like. So I had a good relationship with all the Canadian Hells Angels wherever I seen them, you know. And I would see them mostly like in Amsterdam or all over the world. But they would come here a lot, United States. They'd stay at my house and everything, you know.
Yeah, it was like an explosion of Hells Angels in Canada because when he first became present with the Outlaws, he said there were no angels up there, right? In your area?
Well, my area, no. Like Canada's in provinces, and we got 10 provinces, and the main money one is Ontario, which is where the Outlaws were based. We called it Outlaws Canada, but our chapters, by the time I joined the club, were in Ontario only, and that was the only province that the Hells Angels hadn't came to yet. But they were on both sides. They were working their way in.
I knew they grew like wild grass over there, bro. They were charter after charter was popping up, you know.
Well, when I joined the Outlaws, all there was for Hells Angels was British Columbia.
Right.
They were, I think, the original ones from Canada and Quebec, which is right beside Ontario. So they were already right beside us. And that was at Montboucher, and they were having the biker wars, as the press called them, with the rock machine.
Right.
And then they just went zoom, and they took every province, because we never bothered to. It was as much our own fault as anything else. We didn't ever bother to go to Manitoba or Alberta, and they did.
And the crazy thing, Pee-wee, all these people who became Hells Angels were his former associates. They were ex-outlaws and people like that.
Well, I remember an incident, and Bob probably remembers this. I was in San Francisco, Hells Angel at the time, and I was standing outside the Cow Palace, and they had a big swap meet going on, and Cisco from Oakland walks out to me, and he says, and at that time, we had a truce with the Outlaws. We had like this big truce with them. And I was standing outside talking to somebody, and Cisco walks out and says, "Hey, Pee-wee." I looked at him, I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Hey, we just got a call. The truce is off." And I kind of looked at him, like, "What do you mean a truce is off?" And he goes, the Outlaw just called us and said, "F you, a truce is off." Because, now this is the way I heard it. He said, there was a charter of outlaws, and I don't know where, maybe Bob knows what I'm talking about, somewhere in Canada, that they took off their patches, they burned all their patches, and then they flipped over to become Hells Angels, which, like Bob knows, we really didn't do that with each other,
No, and
because,
that was one of the rules that was from the States.
Right. And Bob's right, because there was a member that I'm still very close with today. He's not a member no more. They kicked him out. His son is an outlaw, and he was a Hells Angel, but he grew up with all these guys that were outlaws. He went to grade school with them, so They all know him. And he tried to hang back around with him, I swear to God. And he went to all the functions, he went to Taco's funeral. He went to all of them, man. He was on everything. He was trying to get into the outlaw so bad, I couldn't believe it. And with no disrespect to Bob or anything, I was like, why the fuck do you want to jump back into a fire again, bro? Yeah. You're out. Stay out, man. Yeah. I said, you're going to join these guys, and then the guys that used to be are going to be after you, and the other guys, too much, man. And he said, I just want to be one. But then you're national. He's from Florida or something. After Taco, they had like a national that was in Florida, and he told my bro right to his face, long as I'm in this club, you'll never be an outlaw in here because you used to be an angel.
Yeah. And see, that was, like you say, the long-standing rule.
And right.
When they decided to patch in the clubs in Ontario that they were patching in, then they also came for us guys. And we had a whole chapter of guys that split off and quit the Outlaws and then joined the Rock Machine. And then the Rock Machine joined the Angels. So they basically went boom, boom. And we went, you can't do that. And they said, well, it's done. And the guys from Quebec said, we don't care. We don't care. We're doing whatever we want. We don't care. There used to be a thing about not putting clubhouses close to each other. They opened theirs right around the corner from us in our city, right around the corner.
They offered you a patch too, right?
Yeah, they offered me a patch twice. So, and then even after I retired, I bumped into one of the guys, and he was a former outlaw that went to the Angels in my city. And then he moved to another city, and he said, hey, why don't you come hang around? And I know what that means. Come hang around means.
Right. Yeah, we know what it means, Bob.
Yeah.
But Pee-wee, they wanted him as a full patch outlaw to come prospect for the Angels. Now, do you think that would be like a trick? Like, hey, come prospect.
Well, yeah, because Bob can agree with this. Just like me and Bob are sitting here talking, we've met in a bar or something, we could be best of friends. But because what we wore on our back told us, I have to hate Bob, Bob has to hate me. Yeah. We don't even know why we hate each other, but that's the way it was. And Bob's right. That was a written rule. We could not switch teams.
Yeah, man. Yeah, like we had a couple guys over the years that quit our club and then wore no patch for 1 year, and then they went and joined one of the charters in Quebec because they weren't in Ontario yet. But that was crazy when they came to Ontario because they patched in all these clubs, right? Maybe 6 clubs. They patched over all at once, all at one party. And so there was like 300 of them all of a sudden in Ontario. One day there's 300 of them. But then you watch them wean them down, and they probably left with a third of that now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys that weren't ready.
Now, do they do that? Do they offer people patches? They drop their colors in this club, and then they go to it, and they're like, "Nah, we ain't taking you," because then you're out of a club.
Well, like Bob can agree with this, man. Like, see, they're all mad right now. I've only talked to him on the phone. I don't know him like on a personal basis, but Conan, their big president they had for the pagans, his real name is Keith. And they were mad at Keith because he did that blue wave. You remember where he was like taking all these clubs in?
Yeah.
And Bob will tell you that's dangerous, bro. Because you're taking in garbage in some of these clubs that you don't know shit about.
You get their stitches.
Yeah. Took the words out of my mouth. And guys who are confidential informants, you take all that.